私には託されたものがあります。
There is one thing I did want to mention, is that there is a gift. There is 3,000 gems available for pickup, as well as a potential magic drop. Gonna want to snatch up those gifts. Here they are. Everybody, Vigo's Shadow here, and today they have dropped a new Shadow Festival unit. And these types of banners are always really nice to see. So I'll give you that info that you're looking for right off the bat. It's Rose, Moonlit Path. This one's a yellow attacker. And let me tell you something, I am in desperate need of yellow attackers for my team as well. Of course not on this account, but I'll show you. So, anyway, let's get right into it. I'm gonna go straight into her abilities. Right now we have, let's just check out her ultimate, Pure Bride. And with this one, it inflicts 1,700% damage on all enemies within 100 centimeters of enemy closest to self. Now, this one's kind of weird because of how they kind of fight and then they shift around the battlefield. So, I guess it depends on how close the enemies are in proximity to that specific enemy that's going to be closest to her. I know it's kind of self-explanatory, but it's really, really weird how it kind of goes within combat. I would want to try to say, yeah, I'm going to assume the tank, but since the tank is usually the one that's targeted the most, but there could be... you never really know, unless Rose is getting provoked. So if Rose is getting provoked to hit that enemy, then 100 centimeters from that enemy. And that's actually a pretty close distance, so it's not like it's 200 centimeters, but still 1,700% damage on multiple targets that would be within that range. Still really good. It's standard damage though, considering this is an SF unit. I've seen more damage on other SF units, and if we look at the regular character pool, the one that just came out, the Victoria, she does more damage than this Rose does, which is pretty much saying something right there. But when we check out the Awakened, it actually makes sense. Boost that damage up to 2,100% damage on all enemies within that same range. Wish it was a little bit more. But then it further cancels 2 buff effects on each enemy within that range, and that's what makes this skill a lot better. Because you're going to have some teams that you're fighting that have a bunch of buffs, and if it's the enemy for events and like Armageddon that buffs themselves up, that's even better. That's really good if you're getting rid of those buffs for that enemy. So, I mean, this Awakened is probably something you want to see right away on the roadmap, so hopefully it's not too far into it. But anyway, we get into this right here, her next ability, which is Fast Heartbeat. This one's a 5-hit damage combo, which I don't know if I've seen like a 5-hit. We seen 3-hit before, but it also has an additional effects. It cancels all shield effects on a single enemy. Wish it was all, because we got some units now, especially like that Cherry, that can give a shield to everyone. But if there's like certain tanks that have a shield on themselves, like I know Ida has a shield that she could do, some other tanks have that as well. If this is hitting the tank, then that's great, or a Beatrix or something like that. Either way, the 5-hit damage is 80% 5 times. You do the math there. but anyway, because this Awakened would be a 5-hit for 100% damage all across. So that's 500% right there, for sure. With that, so it's just a bit better. I mean, you get 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So you get 100% more damage, essentially, if this is Awakened. But you gotta realize each hit has a chance to crit. It'd be a smaller crit, but still. Interesting move. It's not bad. The cancel all shield effects on the single enemy kind of make this ability a little bit more than what it is. And then we have the next one, Flowering Dance. You raise your own attack by 30% for 15 seconds. Really good. Also creates a shield. 100% of the skill user's attack. Not that good of a shield, but still, it is a shield nonetheless for 15 seconds, which is great. So you're not just raising your own attack, you're also getting a shield, which is excellent. That's why you gotta like these Shadow Festival units, because you get 2-in-1s or you get 3-in-1s for those skills, and that's just really nice to see. And then when you have this unit awakened, it raises it up by a whole 20% more on that attack, which is brutal. Further shields damage 150, so it goes up by 50% for 15 seconds, a little bit more. Always helps. And then we get into her final skill, the skill that was advertised on the login screen there. And this is the skill for that specific advertisement. We have Moonlit Path, and what this one does is that it raises damage inflicted of all yellow elemental allies by 30% if partied with 4 or more yellow elemental allies, self included. Now, that damage inflicted is really, really nice with the 30% there, especially if you got like Shadow Observer Beta, yeah. She can also raise the damage of yellow elementals, so this is a really good one to pair that can also boost the damage of yellow elementals. Really, really good for yellow teams, and that's pretty much what makes the character worth it, especially if you're running full yellow teams, because if you're not really running full yellow teams, I know it says 4, but if we look below that, if you have 5, a full party of yellow, it further recovers SP by 300 if partied with 5 yellow elemental allies. So to reap the full benefits from this character, you have to have 5 yellow elemental allies, which is kind of binding, especially if you don't have good yellow units like myself. Then it can be a little bit more daunting trying to do that, but this will help your yellow teams nonetheless. If you have this unit, it's going to raise that damage inflicted and recover SP and essentially make your yellow teams better. Now, if you have this one paired with Victoria, man, that is going to be something else. That is a deadly duo just waiting to happen. And then you pair that with Beta Shadow Observer. Wow, you're going to have a lot of damage coming from your yellow teams. This is a definite game changer for the yellow teams, especially if you have those good yellow units. I'll actually kind of go browse them and show you what I mean here. But let's look at the last part of it when it's awakened here. So when it's awakened, it goes up a whole 10%, which does make the difference, and SP is 200% or 200 more, which is excellent. Before I get into the characters that would pair well with this Rose, I'm going to just go ahead and read off the stats. Here is the base stats from power to healing boost. Crit rate attack and crit defense rate is there, notice that. And then we go from healing boost to overheal, and there is an SP boost for Rose already from the get-go, which is 5% on the SP boost, which is good because it'll help with her one skill. Then we have her, let's go check out her awakening roadmap and see where things kind of align there. So right off the bat, you get the hidden technique, which is always great. This is the one that you wanted to see in the roadmap right away, and we get it right there in the A1. So having her at A1 really does make the difference because you're putting out the damage you should want to have on those enemies, and that's a good chunk of damage. But don't get me wrong, I've seen better, and Victoria can do more damage than Rose can with her hidden technique. But what makes her hidden technique good is cancels the 2 buffs on effects on each enemy within that range. So that's good. That's what we want to see. Her at A1 is really good. And then her A2 is also what we wanted to see right away. It's literally her last skill, which boosts the damage inflicted of all yellow by that 10% more, and then 200% or 200 more on the SP, which essentially is making your yellow teams do a lot of good damage. And then we have fast heartbeat. That one's okay. it is 100% more damage, but it is slight. Then we get the magic gear slot at A4, not bad, at least it's not tucked away at the end. And then Flowering Dance, which is that huge boost for the attack, raising your own attack, and a little bit more on the shield there. That would have been a pretty good one to see earlier on, but nonetheless, we still get 2 excellent ones right away. Having her at A1, really good. Having her at A2, even better. And just stopping there is okay. Because like the next ones you'd want to get would be the A4 and A5 for that gear slot and this extra ability to raise your own attack. So what I could say about Rose right off the bat is that she's going to be doing a lot of damage by herself with that raising her own attack and creating a shield for herself, which is great because she won't die, I would say, extremely right away. The other yellow units will probably die before her if you got somebody attacking mid lane. You might want to see where she kind of lines up. This is where we go back into her stats again for her positioning. And her positioning is 278, which puts her, I think, fairly close. So just keep that in mind, depending on where she kind of lands in your positioning, where your lanes are getting attacked, because she might be getting attacked if she's close to the tank and somebody has AoE. Okay, so the next question you're probably asking is, should I pull for Rose Shadow Festival unit for Moonlit Path? And what I'm going to tell you is that I would say whether your team is weak or strong, it's not going to matter a whole, or it's going to matter a lot, regardless of if your team is weak or if your team is strong. She will probably forever be a staple for your yellow teams. And I always encourage, if you have a lot of gems, like these Shadow Festival unit banners is where you should be spending your gems at. Now, keep in mind that the damage she outputs for her hidden technique isn't as much, but where she really flourishes is boosting the yellow team itself. And that's what makes her a good yellow unit. Let me just go over that real quick, like which one of the yellow units that you should not really put a lot of effort into. Right off the bat, this Sid and this Claire are not worth your time to put a lot of effort in for your yellow units, especially for free to play. Just avoid these units if you have Rose. Even if you're trying to desperately make a 4-man team run, or 4 or 5-man team run with this Rose, it's not worth putting that effort into. Now this Alexia right here, that's worth putting effort into, and you can implement her for her yellow team. So that's one character already there. So you got 2 good yellow units right there. And if you want to make her better, I know this is a free-to-play character you can get through the campaign, so you'll have her. That'd be your 3rd unit. And then, of course, everybody's got to have this one down here. This one would be your 4th unit for a free-to-play yellow team. That's Zeta right there. So that's 4 characters already that's worth putting your time into. So you get 2 characters right off the bat. Or, sorry, 3. That's Zeta, this Alexia, and that Rose. So that's 3 yellow units right off the bat that you can spend your time into and make this Rose well worth it with a 4-man team. Now, if you're looking for that extra yellow unit to put your time into, if you get Victoria, definitely, that's the one to go with. Just go with that one. If you needed to double it up with that tank, and you have Sid, it might just be worth it for the boost. However, having double tank is not really what you should be aiming to do. This yellow unit is kind of mediocre, but it'd probably be better than the Claire or the Sid for the A rank. This new is actually okay. It's not bad. Shadow Observer would probably be one of the best ones to pair with it, so if you have that for SS, very good to put that in there. Yellow Heal Sherry is also pretty bad, but if you have any other healer that's yellow, like this one is pretty okay. I'd say Gamma is probably a little bit better, but if you have those healers, either that one, or where's Gamma right here? Bless Gamma, you could throw that in as your 5th. That'd be exceptional to have either one of those 2 as the healers for your yellow team. So right off the bat, it's going to be easy to make a 4-man team, but you really need to look for either one of those healers that I mentioned or another good yellow attacking unit. New would be okay, exceptional at best, and then this one definitely grind it out, even if like just try to participate in Armageddon, try to get that 135 shards, and I will tell you that your yellow team will definitely shine through, even as a free-to-play. Alright, now I know that was a lot of word vomit there, but essentially, that's it. She's going to be a staple for yellow teams. Yes, I would pull her. Shadow Festival banners usually have good characters majority of the time, so it's likely we're going to run into another Shadow Festival banner. So if you don't really have the gems, try to save up for the next one. If you do, go ahead, try to pull for this one. This one's a really good yellow unit staple for your team. Alright, so the last part of the video here, I wanted to mention that, of course, with Shadow Festival summon banners, it goes from 3% chance to 4.5% rate for the increase in SS characters, boosting the chance by 1.5, is what they say. So, I wanted to go over the weapon here, and that is the Bride's Tiara magic drop. So if you already pulled Moonlit Path Rose, like in between your first and third multi, like if you got it with like first or second multi, go for the third, because you're gonna want this magic drop here, because usually with any Shadow Festival unit, you want to at least get to 3 multis so that you can get this magic weapon. And what this magic weapon does is, this one's Moonlit Path, Bride's Tiara, and what that does is when the hidden technique is unleashed, it raises the attack of all allies. So, in that case, you're going to want to use the hidden technique for the Rose first, and then you use the hidden techniques of all the other allies, because then it's going to be boosted. So that's going to be really good, because it's going to make those ultimates or the hidden techniques of your allies even more powerful, which is awesome. And that is super helpful with the questing, with Arma, with also like bosses. That's going to help a lot with that weapon. Where you're not going to really see this weapon shine is probably PvP, because it won't get that chance. Usually in PvP you don't really get that chance to use your hidden technique, unless it's like Dark Arena, I believe, if it's one-on-one. So she might be good for Dark Arena. But anyway, that is the magic gear, and that is the last part I wanted to put. So if you do get this Rose, make sure you get the weapon as well, along with any other Shadow Festival character that you decide to pull, or just characters in general, especially event. But usually with the event ones, you can grind out through the actual event itself. So most of the time, you don't really need that magic gear. Where you really want the magic gear is for Shadow Festival units, because you cannot craft that gear. You can only get it from the actual banner. So let me show you what I mean. So if I go to this banner right here, and then we go to the exchange, I'm at 20 here. See, I would want to grind out more gems and summon again so that I can get her weapon in the exchange right here. This drop is only tied to the banners, and this would be the same thing for this Shadow Festival banner for Alpha. You can only get this drop right here within the banner. That's why it's important to collect on those. Whereas like if you pulled for Victoria there, that's still on the banner right now, you can still I don't have the feature here, but you could still craft the magic gear once she gets into the regular character pool. So that's why it's important to collect the weapons, especially for Shadow Festival units on the banner there. So yeah, make sure you have that 30 for the exchange. Anyway, Vigo, signing off.